What's up, everybody? My name is Kason. Welcome back to the WDL playoffs. This is our semifinals where our top four teams are going to square off against each other. On the left side of the bracket here, we have the #1 seeded Ferrets, who finished the season with an 8-win and 1-loss record, going up against the 4 seed Wondrous Shoopufs, coached by MaechenX, who came off a fairly convincing win last week against Bebop's crew. On the other side of the bracket, we have the #2 seed Strawhats, coached by JesusLBL, the only team to take down Turambar's Ferrets all season. So a pretty convincing win there, or a pretty impressive win there in the final week of our regular season. And the Edge Sheerans here, the #3 seed, again, a fairly impressive win against Slim Chance Brigade. He had a kind of pop-off moment in match 4 with Astrius kind of winning a 3v1, and that kind of pushed him forward, getting him into this semifinal round. So we have our top 4 seeds, our top 4 teams going at it this week. Should be a couple of really good best of 5s. If you guys haven't checked out the quarterfinals yet, please go watch that first. Obviously a little bit of spoiler here in terms of who won, but I think you should go watch those matches first if you haven't seen them yet. So without further ado, let's get into the preview of our #1 seed Ferrets versus the #4 Wondrous Shoopufs. So this matchup should be really interesting to me. Like we said, Wondrous Shoopufs coming in with 20 points, Ferrets with 24. Although the Ferrets were undefeated up until the last week, I do think these teams are more closely matched than they may seem to be right away. The first thing what I will say here is that MaechenX's team, Wondrous Shoopufs, we saw last week with basically a spot where you can choose maps. You know, if you are allowed to choose what maps you play through, I think that gives this team a fairly good advantage, just for the sole fact that you have a couple of the best like rangers, or basically furthest ranged characters in the game. You have Eliza and Curry. You can just rain down damage from really far away, not even mentoring Winter Victoria as well. On the other side of the coin, though, we have Turambar's Ferrets, who just straight up, the 3 dark units on this team have murdered so many teams. I mean, you can look at the win rates: 13-4, 15-4, Renal 12-4. Very impressive. And not even to mention that he has a pretty good light comp as well, with Sakura, Engelbert, and Camilo coming in there. So should be really interesting. I fully expect Turambar to just run dark until it gets stopped. I just think that he doesn't really have a reason not to, right? If he runs dark and it loses right away, I think he can pivot, but he's had so much success with that team that I probably expect him to do that. MaechenX's team, not sure on match 1. Because map 1 will be Turambar's choice, but I expect him to try and play map 2 and hopefully potentially map 4, if we make it that far, around his ranger units, those ones with have really far range. I know in the previous week he used like ship deck and whatever the one is with like the library. I don't remember what that map is called, but basically use those really to good success for himself. One thing I will mention too is, even though on paper Turambar's team is probably a little bit stronger, just because he has had that dark team that's just wrecked everybody, and he did win, I believe, a 2-0 against Machen early in the season. Machen has shown some really nice creativity throughout the season in terms of what he comes up with to form his teams. Like, he's ran teams where he runs a mixed Ketone, Curry, and Eliza evade comp. Like, who runs Curry as evasion? I don't know, but anyway, it has worked. He's done some really creative stuff. I'm hoping to see some of that creativity come out in this series. I'm hoping for a 5-game series. I honestly would be shocked if this is done in 3, though. I would expect at least a 4-game series, if not 5, just because I think both of these teams are really strong, and I doubt anyone just runs over the other one 3-0. So without further ado, though, let's get into these matches and see what they decided to go with. All right, guys, matchup #1 here between MaechenX and Turambar. MaechenX fielding a pretty hefty magic stat here with Freyevia showing in the front slot. This tells me that he's probably not running the dual archer setup. He's probably running Freyevia and maybe something like Valentine's Day Solir, maybe with like a Curry along with it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he brings here. Turambar, I do expect the full dark comp. The stats that he's showing here, it looks like double physical and 1 magic, and he is hovering Renel. They're going with the castle interior map. This is Turambar's map choice. As like I said last week, the higher seed chooses maps 1, 3, and 5 if you get that far into the series, and the lower seed chooses maps 2 and 4. So very curious to see how this plays out. And let's go ahead and get into this match. So early in the season, Turambar won this matchup 2-0, but I think map changes can have a very big impact on how those kind of matchups go. So exactly what we expected from Turambar. However, MaechenX going with something really creative here, which I'm excited. He's got Ketone, he's got Elshra, and Freyevia. So Ketone has been his MVP all season. He says, hey, you know what? I'm putting my cards on Ketone, and especially on this really, really strange map, this might be a good decision. Detonation Blast, though, right away does a good chunk to her. She's going to have to get a Drain Force off to heal herself back up. Freyevia gets her counter rate up, so she gets the regen on herself, going to be able to heal back up a little bit. And what is Elshra going to do here? So she actually steps forward for damage. Shadow Flare, what's it going to do? I think that's at 3,600. That's actually pretty respectable. And Curata goes on to Ketone. She should be above her like 70% threshold or whatever for her courage. So I don't think she can die for one hit. And now she certainly can't. She just healed up on Drain Force off of the Joker. She might be below 70% here, though. That's kind of the crucial number for Ketone. Yeah, she was. She was below 70%. Detonation Blast goes off, and they're a very quick kill on Ketone. That is MaechenX's hard carry. This is looking pretty grim for him. It's going to be pretty tough. I think this map is really hard for MaechenX because it's so close together, and those dark units can just get into the fight like immediately. Toxic Assault going to come out, and I imagine the Dark team is probably just going to chain down on Freyevia here. Twin Chi Rupture 41, and you got to imagine Joker's going to take this kill. He does. It is an early lead for Turambar, an early 1-0 for him. The nice thing for MaechenX here is, though, that he gets to choose the map on match 2. And something we saw last week, whoever wins match 1 doesn't always win it. I know Sandrooster won match 1 last week, and SurfTaco actually came back with a basically reverse sweep 3 in a row right after. So it'll be really curious to see how MaechenX responds here. Does he decide to go with some archers? Does he go with like the library or the ship deck map like he did last week? Let's go ahead and find out and get into match 2. All right, guys, matchup number 2 here for Turambar and MaechenX. So MaechenX actually decides to go with Plains. So this is a different map than he chose last week. Not entirely sure what the, thought process is and stuff like that. I think it is a little bit of a longer map. I know there's some elevation in the middle, so I'll be curious to see if he's able to get some archers up in the middle, or maybe he takes Ketone thinking, hey, she can traverse the map very quickly. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Looking at the attack and magic stat, he's definitely changed it up a little bit. So he is going, it looks like, dual physical with Freyevia probably as the tank. And for Turambar's sake, I think he's just running the Dark Squad. He 2-0'd MaechenX early in the season with it. He's already out to a 1-0 lead. Doesn't really have a reason to change it up until MaechenX can show that he can beat it. So let's get into this match. Let's take a look and see what happens. And I said this last week, but I'm really excited for these playoffs because I don't watch these videos before I record them. I do that for the regular season. I watch them before I record. So I actually don't know how exactly this plays out. So this is exciting, as exciting for me as it is for you guys. So MaechenX switching it up, going with his archers. The one thing I will point out here, which is tough for Machen, is that Joker has innate frostbite resistance. So Curry does not have as great of an effect as he would normally, just because he's not able to get that frostbite onto Joker, which kind of sucks. That being said, Eliza can put out so much damage. If Freyevia can tank for a while and she can rain down damage, MaechenX can absolutely do this. So interesting tech here. He goes with Kane's TMR, which gets the haste and movement up on Freyevia to make sure she gets out in front and make sure those archers are not caught by any AoE in the back. I think that's a pretty good move. I believe that was Swift Strike coming out from Joker. I didn't quite catch it, but I think it was Swift Strike. I believe it was about 3,300 damage. And now Eliza's ready to go. She's got a ton of AP, ton of damage coming out. And Freyevia tanking up fairly well to this point. What can Garvel do from here? Detonation Blast, but she still holds on. Crucially, she can tank an entire rotation of abilities from the other team. And Curata going to heal for a little more than last match, 4,100. So Curry going to come up. And Aegion, how much damage are we going to do? 3,806. So Freyevia is still hanging on. Eliza needs to put a ton of damage down here, though. And probably in an AoE, I would say. Aerostorm of Removal, that is not a lot of damage. But it does strip the Protect, which is really crucial. Joker is just such an insane unit. Being able to give Protect to the entire team is so crazy. And Garvel takes out Eliza in one hit. This is looking really, really rough. All right, Kurata comes out from Freyevia. I actually don't play with Freyevia a ton. I do believe she has full life, so I think she can re-raise Eliza if she gets an opportunity. But is she going to get the opportunity is the question. The nice thing about her counter procking here is that she gets her healing power up. So theoretically, her Kurata should heal her for more than it was before. But Garvel's going to take out Curry. Ooh, man. And this is another 1v3 for Freyevia here. She's got her work cut out for her. So the Kurata does a good chunk, but unfortunately, Freyevia just doesn't have the damage to take down all these three. I do wonder in this situation if the... I don't know what it's called, but the like library map, I do wonder if it would have been any better or not. It's just so tough. I think Turambar's team matches up really, really well against these archers. It's very tricky. Like I said, but a big part of Curry, why he's so strong, is that frostbite. So if you take that out of the equation, he's just not the same kind of quality unit. So they're going to slowly chain her down here. Five is just so ridiculously tanky. She's dragging this fight out. But unless she can get a full life off, that's the big thing, right? So Aegeon going to come out 37.99. She's going to get another heal off, though, I believe. She gets a lot of uses of this Kurata. And with those counters that she keeps hitting, her healing rate just keeps going up. So she's actually healing for more and more. This is the sad thing, right? If she had more hate and was able to just like keep hate for this long, honestly, like he could probably beat Turambar with this setup. But she either has to get hate by using some sort of like taunting spell, or she has to heal herself. She can't really do both at the same time. So it's kind of unfortunate. But Turambar out to a quick 2-0 lead. I did say that it'd be surprising if it was a clean 3-0. I'm hoping I don't eat my words here. But let's check out to see what happens in match 3. This is Turambar's map on map 3. So he has the map choice on a potential closeout game. Could he 3-0 MaechenX? I don't know. Let's find out. I do think MaechenX, like I said, has had a lot of creativity in the past, so maybe he comes up with something cool to counter this, but it's looked pretty impressive from Turambar. I don't think he's dropped the unit yet in these first 2 games, so let's check out and see what MaechenX has in response for match 3. All right, guys, matchup number 3. So MaechenX still running Curry like he did the last setup. I am curious if it's the same team or not. I do believe the attack and magic stats are a little different here. So it could potentially be a switch up. Looks like Turambar is just going to run dark until it doesn't work. Can't blame him. You know, when you're at a 2-0 lead with potential to try and go to the grand finals, you want to take it if you have it, right? So run the dark until it doesn't work. What does MaechenX have in response here? Mine's Entrance 2 is the map of choice for Turambar. So let's get in it. Let's get in and see what happens. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate all the support. So the full dark combo coming up from Turambar. MaechenX going back into his archers. So what does he have set up here to try and change this up? So looking at his placement, Freyevia is... okay, already getting her counter is a good start to the battle. That's one thing I'll say. She is off all by her lonesome here, while the 2 archers are off by themselves. A kind of smart thing here for MaechenX, though, he has Freyevia really far forward. One thing I'll say here is that Joker and them aren't able to get buffs off. They basically can just walk up and hit right away, which I think benefits MaechenX, because part of the difficulty of overcoming this full dark comp is they're able to get those AoE buffs off and stuff like that, as MaechenX apparently sends a oh my god message to Turambar, so he feels like he did something that he didn't want to happen. That's actually hilarious. So these recordings, like I said, guys, are sent directly to me from the players, so that's what that message is. That's MaechenX saying it to Turambar, which is hilarious. So something didn't go right that MaechenX wanted. However, only 17 AP left for Joker. He can't get the kill. Can Freyevia heal up before their next turn? Because they're running very low on AP, or at least Joker is. Garvel's not, because he's got tons. But Kurata for 5,500. Like I said, that auto regenerator counter that procced right away got his healing power up. So that does help here. Cage of Thorns Limit Break. Who's this going into? It's going into Garvel. 5849. So you can see the damage is much more respectable when they're not able to sit there and buff over and over at the start. And honestly, I don't know if I would say this match is in MaechenX's favor, but it's looking fairly decent for him. Joker moving away from Fryevia, though, after the attack tells me that she might not have hate anymore. So they need to get rid of this Joker, like, immediately. So Aerostorm of Removal coming out. Big damage. Takes out the Garvel. It is now a 3v2. And this is the best that MaechenX's team has looked all day so far. Gloombound Trinity going to come out. Okay damage on a Fryevia, but again, she's still holding on. She heals herself. She is so tanky. She's just hanging on forever. Mega Charge 2449. What can Joker do? I don't think he has enough AP for his biggest attack. Yeah, he doesn't. Just has Maiming Slash. So he can't one-shot either one of these units. What can they do back in return here? So Greater Armor Piercing Arrow comes out, 5,200 damage onto Joker, and this is looking like it could be a win for MaechenX, putting himself on the board here. It's still 3v1 with only Renell alive. This is a very good MR unit, so I'm not saying it's over yet. What did I just say? What did I just say? Oh god, it's a 1v1. Fryevia versus Renell. What is going to happen? The OG global exclusive UR unit versus a very, very strong MR unit. The thing is, though, Fryevia does have full life. Okay, so she gets the raise on Eliza. What can Eliza do? She's got to put some damage down because Fryevia has very little. Triple Flight goes through, so I believe there was a shield on her that is now gone. 0 AP, so she's going to go with the summon. Odin's coming out. Zantetsuken, can it take out Eliza? That is the question. It can't. Okay, it does 4k to both, though. That's very respectable damage. They have to get rid of this Renell, like, this turn. This Renell's actually putting in work for an MR unit right now. Kurata comes out. She selfishly heals herself. Eliza, can you take her out? You have tons of AP here. Clear and Piercer, 4295. Renell drops. That is a W for MaechenX, and we're going to game 4, guys, which is really, really exciting because I always say I'm not rooting for any specific team. I'm rooting for whoever is not on game point, right? I'm rooting for whoever gets us to more games. I want to see 5-game series. That's ultimately what I want. So yeah, MaechenX brings it to a game 4. Super exciting. He has map choice for map 4. So he might have found something that works there, putting Fryevia like way out on her own. Curious to see if he tries and pulls that out for map 4. Does he go back to one of his maps that he really liked for last week? I know, like I said, he used Ship Deck and whatever that library one is called. I'm curious to see if he goes that route again, because it looks like the archers can win if he can get Fryevia out in front fast enough so that Turambar's team can't just sit and buff. Let's take a look and see what happens in match 4 and see if we get a match 5. All right, guys, matchup number 4. Turambar currently up 2-1 over MaechenX, but they are going to the Ship Deck, which is a very good map for Curry. He can hit people across the entire length of the map here, and Eliza can do something very similar. So I think this is probably a smart decision by MaechenX in terms of his map choice. Curious to see if Turambar has adjusted at all, or if he's just doing the exact same stuff here. He is hovering Joker, so I'm thinking, yeah, he is still running full dark. I think he's thinking, hey man, that was a fluke, and that his dark team can still win. Pops that we have to survive buff. It's just so incredibly good. Protect on everybody and getting your own shield is just so strong. So Eliza, what is she going to do? Tracking techniques on her and Curry. And Bulwark or the Bull. Missile attack resist up and defense up. So some really cool buff choices here by Turambar. And I think they both used pretty much that exact same buff, which is interesting. Heart of Flutter. This is Sweetheart Eldira's TMR. Very good choice. Unit resist up, movement up. Just helps you traverse these maps very quickly, especially when you are against units like this who can just sit back. And Zombie Transformation. So Zombie Rairyuu TMR going to come out on Garvel. Going to have to kill him twice. This dark team is just so bulky for not having a tank. It's insane. So Fryevia not going to do anything. She's not in range for anything, unfortunately. What does Eliza have? She's going to pop the limit break. Who is this on? Now, the dark team got all their buffs off. 1255. That is insane, the amount of bulk that dark team built up. Taking only 1255 damage from Eliza is incredibly impressive. Oh my gosh, and he gets the reflex. That is a rough thing for MaechenX here. But we have seen Freyevia tank like crazy for a long time before. Can she continue to do it? Spirit Blaster 4862. Fryevia's going to go next, so she'll get a heal off for sure. And she's currently sitting at 4600 health. I expect probably a Frostmaw Barrage, although MaechenX might even have that turned off just because, and he is charging something. I think this is probably a smart move by Machen. And now that I think about it, he might have done this last match, is just turn off Frostmaw Barrage completely because Joker has Frostbite resistance. Probably a smart move. So Riot Gun, the Limit Break from Joker coming out. That animation is so damn cool. Oh my gosh, it catches Curry on the side. Oh, it doesn't kill him. I thought he was dead. He is now dead. Gloombound Trinity comes out, chains together. Curry is going to drop. Eliza, you're going to have to put in a lot of work here. Freyevia still holds on. She will get another heal off. Eliza needs to pop a huge AoE. They are stacked up here. But you have to imagine with those buffs that the Dark Team stacked up, I don't imagine she gets that much damage. Aerostorm of Removal comes out, kills the Garvel, but he has that re-raise from earlier. So still a 3v2. Freyevia casting time, how fast is it? Does she get the heal off? And does she still have hate? It's hard to tell. Swift Strike comes out. Eliza lives, crucially, but Freyevia drops. It is now a 3v1. And Turambar can taste the grand finals. He takes it in match 4, a 3-1 victory. Congrats to Turambar. As much as I want to see a 5-game series, I think Turambar is very, very well deserving of making it to the grand finals. His team has been ridiculously good all season. Again, only dropping 1 set to Jesus, who is on the other side of the bracket. So maybe we'll get a rematch of that in the grand finals, or maybe SurfTaco will pull off the upset. We'll see. But huge congrats to Turambar. MaechenX, very, very well played all season. Honestly, your matches were some of the most fun ones to see, in my opinion, all season. I had many people comment on the videos saying the exact same thing. So thank you so much for participating. Congrats on making it to the semifinals, at least. If you were going to lose to anybody, at least it's Turambar. And good job taking a game off of him, because I certainly couldn't do that early in the season. So yeah, congrats to Turambar on making the grand finals, and let's see on the other side of the bracket who's going to be facing off against him in our final top 2 teams. Let's take a look. Guys, before getting into this matchup preview, I just want to say thank you to Turambar. When he posted his videos this week, he posted 5 videos for the matches. He just reposted one of the games as match 5 to make it look like it makes it to all 5 matches for me, which I really appreciated. SurfTaco actually tried to do that last week. So I really, really appreciate the effort by these guys posting an extra video for no reason, just to make it so that I don't know that the series immediately ends in 4 games or whatever. So that was a really, really cool touch by Turambar. So I appreciate him doing that. So looking at this setup right here, JesusLBL versus SurfTaco. This was a really, really good series earlier in the season. This was like right after our supplemental draft. I remember the Ed Sheerans taking match 1 and then Jesus switching it up, switching his teams, winning match 2, and then going back to his original team in the 3rd match and winning. It was an incredibly close series, but Jesus took it 2-1. I do expect this series to be really close as well. I expect 4 or 5 games. Again, would be shocked if it's a 3-game series. It should be really, really hyped. There's some really good units, really good teams in these matches here. So let's take a look at them. So first of all, number one thing that jumps out, Lilo the Bold and Astrius have both been just incredibly good all season. Yeah, they've just both been extremely dominant. Lilo with an 8 KDA, Astrius with like a 7 KDA. They both just dumpstered a lot of teams. They very much show that they are worth that 100 cost unit value or whatever. So on Jesus's team, he has a really strong light team and a really strong dark team. I expect him to probably run Lilo, Whisper, Gaff at some point, just because I think that team is pretty nuts on its own. And from SurfTaco and the Ed Sheerans, Astrius and Phoebe, I expect to see at some point. He has also had some pretty relatively good success running like Jaden with Phoebe and like Time Mage setup and stuff like that. Could also bring the Ice Spear girls. SurfTaco has every single game this season has run a Time Mage. He has run either Phoebe or Shell in every single game. Phoebe has been extremely dominant all season, just with that 40 cost value, being able to use Speed Force, Haste, and Quicken on the team is just so incredibly valuable, especially when you have some of these top tier units like Astraeus or Jaden. Just being able to allow them to take more turns is just so strong. So yeah, I think this should be a really cool series. I don't know. I honestly don't know who I think is going to win this one. I think this is going to be incredibly tight. But let's go ahead and get into match 1 and see what these guys chose for their teams. All right, guys, matchup number 1, Underground Ruins 2, Jesus versus SurfTaco. Just so you guys know, this is the map that these teams played each other on early in the season. And again, Jesus won this series 2-1 in the regular season on this map. So Jesus, with the higher seed, decided to go with this map knowing that he's already had some success with it. Went with the Light Squad, which is a team that beat, I believe, this exact team in match 3. I think lost in match 1. So it'll be very curious to see what happens here. So bringing out the Elsrel, Ramza, and Fina combo, and SurfTaco having Jaden, Phoebe, and Warrior of Light. So running that full Light Squad. I think on this map, it makes sense to have Jaden's range rather than Astraeus. Pops that March of the Stag buff, getting the agility up on the party. And Jesus going to go with some good party AoE buffs here, getting AoE resist up on the team. So Warrior of Light going to pop Brave Presence. Going to get that hate defense up, I believe it is. And Jaden already has Haste and Bells online. He should have plenty of AP for the entire fight. And on this map, honestly, there's typically just like a ton of buff rotations to start the battle. Honestly, like 2 or 3 rounds of it typically. I know the last time we saw this happen, Ramza just went nuts. Like, he just did an insane amount of damage. And honestly, Elsrel was actually incredibly impressive. But Jaden is fully online at this point, and I believe Phoebe is channeling a Quicken. Jaden's actually going to get to go before the Quicken comes off, which I think is really important for SurfTaco. Not sure if this is something that he's practiced with his turns, but he should be able to do something here. Golden Magic Shot. 39.44, not bad. And then a Quicken should be able to come off here. So can he kill this Ramza straight up here? Because this would be pretty huge if he can. Jamming Thrust comes out, 6,200 damage. That's huge. That is absolutely massive. Although I believe Fina does have full life. So Ramza could still come back. But getting a kill this early is pretty big. My question here is, Phoebe has enhanced range on her Quicken. Is she able to reach Jaden here? Or is she automatically... No, she's going to Quicken Warrior of Light, which makes sense. Warrior of Light has hate, so she is naturally going to target him anyway. Stop Strike misses. Does he have low accuracy, or is Jesus running some evasion? That's what I want to know. Golden Magic Shot, 5,400 damage. Fina's going to live it. It looks like she is channeling full life on Ramza, though, which could be pretty massive for Jesus here. Goodnight Rumble. I love this limit break. How much damage is it going to do? 4,600 onto the Jaden. Not bad. And full life comes through. Ramza is full health. It is back to a 3v3, and we got an even match here again, guys. So what is Phoebe going to channel here? She's just sitting there. Is she not casting anything? Is she not in range? Oh my gosh. Shimmering Blade comes out. Kills the Jaden. And Stun Blade kills Warrior of Light. It is now a 3v1 in Jesus' favor. And this is actually now how the turntables have turntabled. This looks pretty grim for SurfTaco here, actually. Does Phoebe have full life on? She's not channeling anything. So it looks like she has nothing but her Time Mage stuff turned on. And even though Ramza died very early in this fight, it looks like this is going to be like a perfect 100-0 W for Jesus' team. It was kind of wild. She's channeling something. Phoebe, can you triple kill them? Oh, she actually goes for stop. She actually lands a stop on Ramza. If this was a closer fight, could be pretty important. But yeah, Jesus is going to take a... That might have been perfect victory in terms of health bars. It certainly didn't play that way. That fight looked much closer than it ended up as. Like I said, that early kill on Ramza getting nullified by the full life. But Jesus making a really smart call. Going back to the map that worked for him early in the season. Said, hey, let's run it back. And now he's 3-1 on that map versus SurfTaco. So that being said, though, SurfTaco now has the map choice on round 2. And I'm sure he is going to change it up and pick something that works for him. Let's get into it and see what he chose. Okay, guys, match number 2 here. SurfTaco highlighting Phoebe. It is on Wastelands. This is a map he chose last week. He actually lost on this map to Sandrooster. But the number one thing I want to point out here is JesusLBL's starting unit here, right out in the front of the screen, Resnick. Resnick has not had a single match all season of play yet. So Jesus is busting it out in the playoffs. I am super excited to see what else he is bringing here. And I think with like these type of setups, with these type of like limited cost formations, I'd be very curious to see, like, does he have Resnick's arithmetician damage spells on? Because in this situation, like, she could actually do some decent damage with some of those arithmetician spells. Not only just being a support like she is normally set up as, right? Like, you normally turn those spells off. In this setup, maybe not. He decides, hey, I know he's going to go range with Jaden. He's going to try and match it using his own Resnick and also Frederica in the back. Barrage is going to come through. That's a lot of damage right out of the gate. And what is Resnick going to do here? Law of Refuge, so she's going to have a physical shield. The physical shield, though, is not going to do a ton. Drill Shot. Yeah, Drill Shot's going to one-shot Frederica. That's not looking good for Jesus. And this time, I don't think that Jesus has the full life on his side here. So Keenblade going to come out from Gafgarian. What can Resnick do? Law of Refuge. And this is a spot where I wonder about the AI. Like, would Resnick be able to walk forward and just hit them both with an arithmetician spell and kill them? Like, I think it'd be possible. And I don't know if she is... I don't know if she'd be willing to do that. I don't know. It'll be interesting. But Phoebe gets a heal up online on the team. This is looking kind of bad for Jesus, because this is going to be kind of a stalled out fight. Yeah, Drill Shot coming out from Jaden, and this looks so much better for him than it did last week on this map. I think this is what he was hoping for last week and didn't get the result he wanted. Then again, he did win the series, so it didn't matter. But as dominant as that first match ended up in Jesus' favor, it looks like this match could be the exact opposite. Jaden needs to get his AP up. He now has 36, and you have to imagine with that elemental advantage, he is going to destroy Gafgarian in this next turn. So Jaden's going to go. What does he have? Unerring Shot. 3 shots, 3 kills. That is all King Jaden needs. I believe they were all one-shots, right? I think he took 3 attacks and killed 3 units. That is pretty nuts. It is now a 1-1, so we are guaranteed a 4-game series. I'm hoping for 5. Let's get into this third match, see how Jesus now responds to SurfTaco's W. All right, guys, matchup number 3, Jesus for SurfTaco. We have Whisper and Victoria showing. So 2 units that have not got brought out yet, which is really crazy to me that it takes till match 3 that Jesus brings out Whisper. It's kind of nuts. The map is Mountain Road 2, one of my favorite maps. If you know, you know. But yeah, let's take a look and see what happens in this fight. I expect kind of full Dark Squad now from Jesus if he's hovering the Whisper. I didn't look at the attack and magic stat, but yeah, it is the full Dark Squad. And now SurfTaco behind the Victoria is actually running Astrius and Shell. Very interesting. So I don't know that he's run this exact team before. If he has, I don't remember seeing it, but I'll be very curious to see what happens here. Deep Fortification, really good AoE buff coming out from Astrius. And Victoria was the main slot in the party. So this interests me because this means Shell is going to either haste or quicken Victoria unless Astrius has hate. Because if you don't know, haste or quicken always targets the person with most hate. And if there's no hate, it targets the first person in your party, which was Victoria in this instance. So yeah, she hastes her. And now what is Layla going to do? She's not in range for damage. She's going to get her courage online. Jesus. Literally Layla's a monster. She's got all her buffs up. So does Gaff. And it looks like Jesus is set up really, really nicely. This is going to be a quicken, I believe, unless he has haste turned off. The 100% damage shield nullifies Whisper's damage there. Frost Reaver comes out, does a shit ton of damage to the whole team, pops the Frostbite on Gaff, and another quicken comes out. Does she have enough AP to do that again? Oh my god. Holy shit, Victoria just went absolutely nuts on this team. This play from SurfTaco is actually disgusting. That was very, very well done by SurfTaco. Holy cow. Wicked Pummel comes out, kills the Victoria, but it might be too late. Courage is already gone from Leela. She has Frostbite, and she has 1 health. And if we've seen Astrius pull off 3v1s before, like, I have to imagine Astrius is going to win this fight here. Taunting Spell is going to hit Shell. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Asterisk is going to light people up here. She's going to pop the limit break. I imagine this is on Whisper then. Yeah. 1911. Does the follow-up attack kill? It does. And now Leela, 1 HP in a dream. Can she basically has to go absolutely nuts and dodge a ton of stuff. She only has 32 AP. Graceful Undoing does a lot of damage. I don't think that removes Courage, does it? Doesn't matter. Edge of no return. He connects, takes out the Leela, and damn, Victoria went absolutely nuts in that fight. That was the best Victoria showcase I've seen in a while. Hats off to SurfTaco on that W. And now it gets very interesting. Jesus with the higher seed at number 2. SurfTaco is now on game point and going to his own map choice on map 4. So he has the potential to close it out. And he needs to do that because if he doesn't, it's going to go to match 5 on Jesus's map choice. This should be very, very interesting. This is a really good series already. Let's get into match 4 and see what happens. All right, guys. Coastline 2. I believe this is another map that SurfTaco chose last week. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I'm pretty sure he chose the exact same 2 maps as he did last week. Honestly, it makes sense, right? Like, he's probably had more time to practice those maps if he was doing it both last week and this week. So it does kind of make sense. So Jesus changed up the team again. It looks like switched away from the Dark Comp. I believe he was hovering Fina. And I know SurfTaco was hovering Jaden. So SurfTaco has only brought out Asterisk 1 time so far, which is kind of astounding to me. Yeah, going with the full light squad for Jesus. This is the team that picked him up a win, though, earlier in the series. A good damage coming out from Elserol right away. Very strange, very interesting positioning from Phoebe here. I guess it's just to get her to walk backwards to buff. I don't know. Very interesting. I mean, if Elserol like one-tapped her, that could have been really, really nuts. I imagine this is haste coming out to the Jaden. And what does Fina have here? I think this is probably like a superior healing. Yeah, going to haste the Jaden. He did not pop bells though, so he doesn't have like tons of AP at this moment. He only has 18, but has enough for unerring shot. That is going to take out Elsie. But again, just like last time, is it going to be a similar setup where she can pop full life? Not yet. She's going to go for the AoE resist. She does have full life in her kit, though. She could still pull a full life on Elsie, just like she did in match 1, I believe it was. And the Quicken goes off on Jaden. He pops March of the Stag because he doesn't have enough AP. And this will be really, really interesting. It's a 3v2 right now, but again, full life is on the table, so it could very easily be a 3v3 at any point. Bells comes online, though, and Jaden should have tons of AP for the rest of this fight. What can Ramza do? He's basically facing off against the tank down here. Pops the Ultima. This is a magic-based damage attack, even though most of his kit is physical. Removes all buffs from him, which is very, very nice. You have to imagine this is full life coming out. The Quicken, though. What if he jamming thrusts? Because this could interrupt the spell. Drill shots instead. Does not jamming thrust, which could have been pretty crucial, to be honest, because that would actually stop this full life from happening. So now Elsie gets to walk forward. Blade of Inertia. Decent damage onto Jaden. And now this looks like a much closer fight than originally planned when Elsie was dead. Is this a haste or is this a Quicken? This should be haste. She had haste online. So this is, I'm sure this is haste. It's not going to be Quicken. So he is hasted. Does he get to go next? No, Fina goes next. Does she heal or does she try and kill Jaden? She channels something. Oh, man. That is a mistake, Fina. You had to do something else. Gets taken out by Magiblast Plus. Elsie has very little AP. Only 6. She's going to turn and hit the Warrior of Light. And now Phoebe is going to be able to quicken Jaden. And Ramza's next. Ramza, what can you do? Does Warrior of Light still have hate? I don't think he does because I believe Ramza stripped him of it. I am wrong. He must have hate. But I thought that he removed hate with his limit break, but I'm not sure that he does. Or Warrior of Light could be running some initial hate, which does not get stripped. Not entirely sure about that. Split shot comes out, though, as our video is loading very briefly. I apologize for this. 1086 damage comes out on the split shot. Warrior of Light is still alive. The loading is happening again, but Jaden is still alive, still hasted, still has tons of AP, and he's going next. If he takes out this Elsie, this could be really bad for Jesus. Jesus's playoff life is on the line here. SurfTaco can sniff the grand finals right now. Last week he was down 0-1 and he came back and won a 3-1 series. Is he going to do the exact same thing to Jesus here? That is the question. Jesus and Turambar are looking to get the same guild grand finals, both from Get Swifty. Golden Mad Shot going to come out. Not quite enough yet. But I don't know how Rams is going to come out. Oh no, don't do it to him. Don't take Jesus out with Phoebe Mega Flare. There's no way that Phoebe is going to get the ceiling kill here. No shot, dude. Oh my god. Is this kill? 13. Oh no. SurfTaco, what have you done? Oh my gosh. That series was actually really, really good. I don't know why. To me, it's like hilarious that Phoebe gets the finishing blow there. She might have had 1 kill this season. I'm not sure about that though. I think she had maybe 1 kill, if not 0 kills all season. SurfTaco with another series where he started down 0-1 and won the next 3 games. Honestly, very, very impressive. His team is really legit. And now it should make for a really, really interesting grand finals. As the only team that has beat Turambar is Jesus. SurfTaco took him out. Can SurfTaco become the second team to beat Turambar? That's the question. And if he does, he is the grand champion. Otherwise, it's Turambar, who it seems like was the favorite all season. So should be a really, really good series. That being said, Jesus, thank you so much for playing, man. I really, really appreciate it. Jesus is a really awesome guy. Got to know him a little bit. And honestly, it's just been a real pleasure to watch his matches. The matches were really, really fun. I was so glad that he got to make the top 4 and, you know, almost make the grand finals. Really impressive run. But let's take a look at the bracket and let's talk about it a little bit. All right, guys, just like I said in the last preview, thank you again to SurfTaco for, again, posting 5 videos worth of content. It makes it so that I don't know whether it's a 5-game series, 4-game series, 3-game series, stuff like that. Up to this point in the bracket, every series has been a 3-1. So no sweeps, but no 5-game series. It's all been 4-game series up to this point. Again, Wondrous Shoopufs beat Bebop's crew to get to the semis, but lost to the number 1 seed Fire Ferrets. The number 1 seed Fire Ferrets are in the grand finals right now. Sheerans winning 3-1 versus Slim Chance Brigade, and then pulling off the upset against JesusLBL's Strawhats. So Fire Ferrets and Sheerans in the grand finals. Honestly, not a huge surprise. Like going into the playoffs, if I had to guess, I probably would have guessed Fire Ferrets, Straw Hats, but Sheerans are an incredibly strong team. And this should be really, really cool. This should be a really, really good grand finals. I'm excited for it. Yeah, I'm hyped. And this is really, really sweet. If, like I said, just is the exact same way as the rest of the playoffs have gone. The grand finals will be a 5-game series. Fire Ferrets will still have map choice for 1, 3, and 5. Again, we wanted the higher seed to have a reason to want the higher seed. You know, we didn't want people to just make the top 6 and then that's it, right? It's just top 6. You earned it with the better record. So show us what you got with the map choice. That being said, Sheeran's pulled off 1 upset. Maybe they can pull off another. This should be really, really cool. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all the support for these videos. Again, I know like my content is very much changed towards this style of content rather than guides and stuff like that. It's just kind of what I've been interested in recently. So, but that being said, I've had a blast doing this. This has been really, really fun. We have 1 more video for this season coming up. It'll be the grand finals. Expect that in, I would say, probably about a week and a half or so, but maybe a week. I don't know. We'll see what it happens. We'll see how quickly that these 2 guys get their matches done. And yeah, look forward to the grand finals. Should be really, really fun. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a wonderful day.